Okay, so right now I just want to talk about coercion and continue from where we left off yesterday. Today's day 16, September 16, 2024. So we did cover explicit last time, and I showed you some examples on how that can work. And basically, us, the programmers, are the ones who are trying to handle the conversion of the data type. So it's a lot more safer and more predictable, especially when handling strings or non-compatible types. With regards to implicit type conversion, this is JavaScript converting types for us. And this is especially something that we might encounter when we are performing arithmetic operations between integers and floats. And the JavaScript language will be the one to handle the conversion for us. So let's try to explore this out. And I'm just going to go and comment this out. And just to demonstrate this, I'm still going to work with the if directions that we have here. So let me just go delete this first. And I think let's also delete that. I'm just going to go and remove this here so that we will have no conditions besides from the directions. And I think we're good with here, and we want to declare a num integer, for example, and we assign that a value of 5, and a num float, and we assign that a value of 2.5. So what are we going to get as a result if we go and try to store the value of num int, which we know is currently the value of 5. We store the value of 5, and we add the num float here. And we know that this is going to be, I think we have to have a correct identifier here. Now, if we try to go and use this to go here, and this is just going to be, this is an example of an of implicit conversion. So without any other details here, we know that from this integer and this float value, if we try to go and try to play this now, what are we going to get if we move to the, so I'm moving to the right, and this is an example of an implicit conversion moving to the left, and it now has 7.5. So what we are seeing here right now is that we are converting implicitly, or JavaScript is implicitly converting the num int value that we have here, which is the integer 5, to a float value that we now see on the, we can see that in our output, we're seeing here that we are able to go and, I think I click again on, let me just stop this. I click again accidentally on that. And we are seeing here that we are getting that 7.5 output. So that's just the basic of what's the difference between implicit and explicit. And something that I also learned today is that when we talk about the nodes that we have here, these are like components in Unity. So when you say nodes, let's those are like components in Unity. And instead of having to need a game object, or let's say we from where we need a game object to add those components, if we are working with Unity, what we can try to do is to attach them, or we will be working with a node parent that we are seeing here. Okay, so I think that's something to also take note of with the Godot engine. And something that I also explored would be how do we go and add some, what is this UI left, UI accept or UI write? I was thinking user interface, but that's actually not it. It's user input. It means user input. And right now, if I play this, if I go and try to play this, you will see I'm actually using the arrow keys and the left and right, but I'm not able to use of the common WASD. So if we wanted to go and set that up, we can just go to project settings and input map. So in here, you would see that we have UI left or user input, not user interface. So if I wanted to have uh, the value of A, let me just delete this first and this one. I was testing this out earlier. So the process here, if I want to go to the left side, I can maximize the use of that add additional plus sign on the right side of the interface, and then I can just go add the letter A there and okay. And if I go and add towards the right, so we should now be able to see here letter D, and that should be making our player move left and right by using that input map. And right now I can use my left and right. And I think we can already comment out some of this print here. But let's just delete that. I'm also going to delete this. We were just exploring this. And I think we can just go delete all of this first. And this one also, then perhaps we can just work on that later on. So I think that's it for this session. Let's just go delete all of this. And we were just doing some testing. That's why we're working with those variables. We still have a lot of things that we would want to cover and explore with the current script that was created defaultly, or is that the correct word? That was created for us by Godot as a template. And currently my strategy here is to try to figure out each of those parts of whatever we can see in the default script that was provided to us by Godot when we created our first player GD or player script here, GD script here. Okay, so that's it for now. Thank you and see you on our next session.